Almost 900,000 people watched a viral video claiming you should collect Social Security at 62. I went through all 2,200 comments so you wouldn't have to. And do you know what shocked me the most? Only 12 people, 12, mentioned what happens to their spouse after they die. That blind spot can cost a surviving spouse more than $240,000. And here's what really worries me as a financial advisor. These aren't trolls or bots. These are real people, many of them couples making permanent decisions with partial information. So today I'm going to show you the exact math they're missing and what really happens when I sit down with widows who discover too late that that higher benefit is gone forever. This may change the way you view Social Security. So look at this comment. 774 people liked it. Take the money and run at 62. So here's what they're celebrating. Claiming at 62 gives you extra money in your pocket 8 years before someone who waits until age 70 before they even get their first check. So you get 96 monthly payments and the person waiting until 70 gets zilch. And the math seems obvious if you're single and you die young. But here's the problem. Out of all these comments, only 12 people, that's 0.5%, mention what happens to their surviving spouse. That means 99.5% of commenters could be completely ignoring these survivor benefits and how they play into their overall picture. The married commenters, they forgot that Social Security isn't just about your benefit. It's also about protecting your spouse after you're gone. Difference between your widow having, let's say, $1,750 per month versus $3,100 per month for potentially 15 or 20 years. That's real money, like that can determine whether your spouse can stay in his or her home or has to downsize because they can't afford the bills anymore. And many commenters, many people aren't doing this calculation. So I had AI analyze all of these comments looking for some obvious patterns. And here's what jumped out to me. People are only calculating their own benefit. They're running the math on what they will collect. So in this video, let me show you the math nobody's really doing. Let's use some realistic numbers. John's full retirement age benefit at 67 is about $2,500 per month. That's slightly above the national average. So this probably applies to a lot of people who are watching this video. If John claims at 62, Social Security reduces his benefit by 30%. He gets $1,750 per month. His wife, Mary, gets $1,200 on her own record. So together, they're bringing in $2,950 per month. They're both happy because money's coming in early. They can travel, they can enjoy retirement while they're still young and healthy. Let's fast forward now. John passes away at 83. He had a good run, 21 years of retirement, but now here's what happens to Mary. In scenario A, when John claimed at 62, Mary's own benefit, that $1,200 a month, is gone. She loses that benefit forever. She now gets $1,750 a month as a survivor benefit. That's exactly what John was receiving when he died. Her total income now is $1,750 a month in today's dollars. In scenario B, John waited until 70. Mary's own benefit, $1,200 a month, is still gone, and she loses that. But now Mary gets $3,100 a month as a survivor benefit. That's 124% of John's full retirement age benefit because he waited. Her total income is now $3,100 per month. So that difference is $1,350 per month every single month for the rest of Mary's life. That's not a one-time difference. That's permanent. Now, let's do more real math. If Mary lives to 98, and that's not unusual, women are living longer and longer. They typically live longer than men. That's 15 years after John passes away. 1,350 times 12 months times 15 years is $243,000. Now here's where people get this wrong. They say, John got all that money early, he can invest it. I hear this all the time. His early advantage, he claimed at 62 and started collecting $1,750 per month immediately. The person who waited until 70 got nothing during those 8 years. So John collected $1,750 times 96 months, which equals $168,000 before the other person even got their first check. Yes, the collect and invest assumption. I hear this all the time. But here are a few facts. Most retirees in the 70s and 80s, they're in conservative portfolios. They're earning lower rates of return. Many keep extra money in savings accounts, earning almost nothing. And sequence of returns risk, which is that bad luck risk during market downturns, which is terrifying at any time, is even worse at that age. Once you panic and sell During a downturn, all these calculations get thrown out the window, and it happens more than you might think. And lastly, the stress of managing investments contradicts the whole peace of mind benefit of claiming early. So this couple is likely to lose at least $75,000, and that's the best case scenario where they spend nothing of that early money and it just sits there accumulating. And we even factored in that higher benefit gets inflation adjustments. That gap gets wider over time, not more narrow. Here's what really happens in my office, and this is the part that breaks my heart every single time. So John passes away, Mary is grieving, she's 83 years old. She just lost her husband of 55 years. And within 30 days, she's gonna get a letter from Social Security reminding her and explaining that her income just dropped by $1,350 every single month for the rest of her life. That's $16,200 per year she has to pull from savings that might already be depleted from John's final medical expenses, the hospital bills, the hospice care, the funeral costs. Medicare doesn't cover everything, and those final months can easily cost $50,000 or more just out of pocket. God willing, he didn't have dementia like my dad did, because that is even more expensive. So I've had this conversation with widows dozens of times in my 20 years as a financial advisor. I've sat across the table from people who are, they're trying to figure out if they can afford to keep their home where they're living, or women who are deciding between their medications or their groceries, women who are canceling their cable, their internet, their memberships to things that gave them joy because they have to cut money out of their budget. And I say women because they last longer. Every single time I think this was 100% preventable. In our example, John might have thought that get the money while you can. You never know how long you're going to live, but he didn't run the survivor benefit calculation. He didn't think about what might happen to his wife when he's gone. And now she's paying the price for that blind spot. He made one decision, one largely irreversible decision without understanding the full consequence. And widows often live with that decision for 15, 20, 25 years. Now, there are some exceptions where I think claiming at 62 is actually a good idea. I'm going to cite 3 specific situations where claiming early makes sense, even when you factor in the survivor benefit. So let me walk you through each one. Here's exception number 1. You're the lower earner and your spouse has a much higher benefit. So this is critical to understand, because if Mary has a $1,200 benefit and John has a $2,500 benefit, Mary claiming at 62 is absolutely fine, because when one spouse dies, the survivor gets the higher of the 2 benefits. So if Mary decides to claim early, it doesn't hurt the survivor benefit picture at all. John's higher benefit provides for her regardless of when she claims. In fact, this scenario, it often makes sense for the lower earner to claim at 62 and for the higher earner to wait until 67 or 70. You get income now from the smaller benefit and you maximize the survivor protection from the larger benefit. Exception number 2 is a terminal illness or a short life expectancy. If a doctor gives you less than a decade to live or something like that, the math changes completely. I've worked with clients who have cancer diagnoses, heart conditions, or other serious issues. In these cases, I always say get your money now, enjoy it with your spouse while you can. The survivor benefit calculation doesn't really matter if you're not going to live long enough for that delayed claiming to pay off. And exception number 3 is you're divorced after at least 10 years of marriage. And this is completely a different set of rules that most people really don't know about. If you were married for at least 10 years, then you're currently unmarried. You can claim benefits on your ex-spouse's record. And the beautiful part is that your decision, or whatever you decide to do, doesn't affect their benefit at all. You have to talk to them, nothing like that. It doesn't affect their current arrangement. It's completely independent. So if you're divorced and your ex-spouse has higher earnings, you certainly want to look and claim on that record. And whether you claim at 62 or wait until 70, it's a zero impact on anyone but you. The survivor benefit rules don't apply because you're not married anymore. So here are your action steps, what you should do right now, step by step. Step 1 is go to ssa.gov. That's the Social Security Administration's website. And if you haven't created your own account there, create an account. Then pull your benefit estimates at 3 ages: 62, your full retirement age, which is probably 67 if you were born after 1960, and age 70. You need all 3 numbers for both you and your spouse. Step 2, identify who has the higher benefit, which is critical. The higher earner is the one whose claiming decision has the biggest impact on survivor benefits. So if that's you, you need to seriously consider waiting as long as possible, ideally until your full retirement age, maybe even 70. Step 3 is run the survivor benefit calculation that I showed you in this video. Take the difference in survivor benefits between claiming at 62 versus 70, multiply that by 12 months, then multiply by your spouse's life expectancy minus your life expectancy. Use the Social Security actuarial tables, don't just guess at this stuff. So almost 900,000 people watched a viral video and only 12 of the 2,200 comments mentioned survivor benefits. So your claiming decision is not just about you, it's about protecting the person you love most after you're gone. Drop a comment below, did you factor in survivor benefits when planning your Social Security strategy? I read every single comment, I'll try to respond with specific guidance for your situation. If you like this video, you might like this other one on Social Security, and thanks so much for watching.